How's it going? My name is Jumpy, and I've got two more movies to talk about today. Let's start with Beau Is Afraid, the third film written and directed by Ari Aster. My first experience with this director came in April 2022, when I watched Midsummer, his second film. And I was not prepared for that movie. But it still managed to pull me in. It was something that I kept thinking about afterwards. I rewatched it during the first few days of 2023, and I loved it even more. It is absolutely terrifying, beautifully executed, and so layered. I don't have an official list, but I would put Midsummer in my top 10 favorite movies I've ever seen. I saw Aster's feature-length debut Hereditary afterwards, and I like it. I've seen it twice, and it's also better the second time. It didn't affect me as much as Midsummer, but it still managed to pull me in. I highly recommend both, and figuring out for yourself which one you like more. 4 years after Midsummer, Aster returned in 2023 with Beau Is Afraid. Realistically, I didn't expect this to top Midsummer, but I still went in with very high expectations. The movie is about a man named Beau Wasserman, played by Joaquin Phoenix. He has very severe anxiety, and he's planning to visit his mother. However, this isn't as easy as it sounds, and some things go very wrong along the way. I'm just going to start off by saying that this is the perfect movie to watch right after Die Hard 5. It's a completely different beast. It begins with Beau talking to his therapist. He worries about accidentally swallowing too much mouthwash and that he'll get stomach cancer. And this helps you get a feel for who he is. It's not until he leaves the therapist's office that we see what this movie really has in store. I hadn't watched any trailers for this beforehand, so it was surprising seeing the movie's outside world. Something is off immediately when you hear a woman yelling her kid's name, and it gets so chaotic very quickly, with someone on a building's rooftop ready to jump. There's an amazing scene afterwards where there are gunshots and people arguing. Then, from the distance, Beau comes running full speed down the street, and a man immediately starts chasing him. Beau barely avoids being caught by escaping into his apartment building. That scene is such a delightfully weird rush that feels surreal. It's wonderfully filmed and edited, and it's hilarious. Another example of the tone is when Beau is trying to sleep, and someone keeps sliding notes under his door asking him to keep quiet, despite him not making any noise. The last time this happens, the note slides all the way from his front door across the living room and into his bedroom and stops beside his bed. It's such a fun, quirky detail, and I love it. The movie is filled with odd moments like these, and they can be very dreamlike, but oftentimes it gets dark and unnerving. Other times it's whimsical. It repeatedly made me laugh very hard, and I was very fascinated by what I was seeing. With all of this, the drama is also effective, which isn't easy to pull off. Some of the tonal shifts are abrupt, but it worked for me. The movie sets up where it's going with Beau trying to get home to his mother, but I was never sure what obstacle was going to come next in his journey. Aster can always get some great performances in his movies, and Beau Is Afraid is well acted all around. Phoenix as Beau is interesting. He's always asking people what he should do. He gets blamed for things he didn't do, and a lot of times people just don't listen to him. I have something that's both a criticism and a praise. There were a couple of times when I felt like the movie was being a little too cruel to Beau. And this is also an accomplishment, because I didn't feel this way more often, considering how many times everything goes wrong for Beau. He's not a character I particularly love, but I do care what happens to him. I do need to mention that I also enjoyed all of the scenes with Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan as a married couple. When I was watching it, it reminded me at times of the Martin Scorsese picture After Hours. And the ending made me think of a movie from the 1960s, but I can't even say the title of that one without it being a spoiler. I know I didn't fully understand everything, and a lot is left open to interpretation, but I am satisfied overall. The movie is 3 hours long, but it felt a little shorter than that to me, and I was never bored. I don't want to go too deep into this one because I had fun being surprised along the way. I really enjoyed Beau Is Afraid, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for my first viewing, and I'm very close to giving it an 8. I keep thinking about it, so that could change when I watch it again. Right now, I prefer Beau slightly over Hereditary, which I also want to rewatch at some point. I don't love it as much as Midsummer, which is totally expected. Ari Aster is 3 for 3 for me, and I can't wait to see his next movie. And now, we get to the second film, Renfield, which is the Nicolas Cage Dracula movie. Drac-Cage-la, that's the pun I'm gonna go with here. Renfield was directed by Chris McKay, and the only other work of his that I'd seen before this video was the first half of the movie The Tomorrow War, which I just didn't get into, but no hard feelings there, so let's see what he does with a horror comedy. The movie stars Nicolas Hoult, who I loved so much in The Menu. He was hilarious there. Renfield also stars Awkwafina, who I'll admit got on my nerves a little at the start of Crazy Rich Asians, but I liked her by the end of that movie. And she was fun in Shang-Chi as well. So I was looking forward to Renfield because of those three in the cast. The movie is about a man named Renfield, who was a lawyer who went to go make a deal with Count Dracula, and he ended up becoming the vampire's familiar. They've moved from city to city over the years, and they're currently in New Orleans. Renfield brings bodies to Dracula so he can regain his strength. While stalking a potential victim, he follows them into a support group for people in toxic, codependent relationships. Renfield listens to their stories and realizes that he can help out both Dracula and the others in his support group by going after the toxic partners in those relationships. Let's just say things go wrong, and a crime family gets involved. A cop named Rebecca Quincy, who already has a personal grudge against that crime family, is there at the right time and starts investigating the case. First off, I really like this movie's opening. Renfield's backstory starts in black and white with a 4:3 aspect ratio, looking like the original Dracula movie from the 1930s. Then the next scene has a really cool editing choice where Renfield and Dracula are talking to each other in the same room. Instead of just cutting back and forth between each of them, there are crossfades between the shots. I believe this was done to show their connection as master and familiar. Throughout the film, Nick Cage is having a blast, and he's so entertaining to watch. There are some great scenes where he's under heavy, disgusting makeup before he's restored his power. And his exchanges with Renfield are some of the best parts of the movie, especially their scene in the apartment. Hoult and Awkwafina are both really funny, and they have some good scenes together. The son of the crime family is played by Ben Schwartz, and he got a lot of laughs out of me here. I think the movie is pretty funny, but it also has a lot of lazy jokes. It relies on profanity a little too often. Just someone saying fuck you, or shut the fuck up, or oh shit as a punchline. And also jokes where something ridiculous happens, and then a character repeats it verbally and describes the thing that we just saw take place. But I thought the movie was infectious and the cast committed to it, so those lesser jokes didn't bring the movie down for me. It's just that it could have been better. And I know this, because there are plenty of jokes that I actually did find funny. I wouldn't consider many of them to be clever, but I enjoyed them. The movie isn't hereditary at all, but it's not going for that. The action scenes here involve a lot of people getting beat up, punched, shot, and stabbed. The violence is so over the top with geysers of blood. A lot of it looked like CGI to me, but it's fine. As far as the digital blood goes, it's not bad, and it being slightly off works because the movie doesn't take itself that seriously. Renfield isn't perfect. It doesn't always have the most effort put into it. It's mostly predictable, but it is so entertaining and funny. Nick Cage is delightful as Dracula. Nicolas Hoult, Awkwafina, Ben Schwartz, and the rest of the cast are good as well. I watched this very late at night, and it was the best time for it. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you all next time.